Welcome. Sorry about that. Welcome to Get Your Bell Rung. So I normally stream on different platforms, and I was trying to stream on X tonight, and I guess there's some more bullshit I have to do with X in order to get it to stream with them. So I had this warning, and I had to do a bunch of shit. So I apologize about that as we went live. My name, of course, is KG. I am your host, and with me tonight is Sean Vincent, indie wrestler, been in the business 20 plus years. He is the self described Canadian hero, and he is currently wrestling for SICW, who is owned, of course, by our resident guy who has been on this podcast more than anybody else, Mr. Herb Simmons. Sean, what's up, brother?
Hey, first off, thank you so much. I'm very humbled to be on your podcast. You've had many of our roster members from SICW on your podcast. Curtis Wild, Attila Khan, and yes, of course, Mr. Herb Simmons himself, the man that I've been working for the past 13 years. A
Wow.
man who has personally worked with Sam Lunchnick, Larry Madisick, booked Bruiser Brody. I mean, come on. When you talk about all the bookers in the Midwest wrestling scene, there's a lot of good ones, but there's only one, Mr. Herb Simmons, and I'm working for him, and what a privilege it is. And again, what a privilege it is to be on Get Your Bell Rung Wrestling Podcast.
Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it. And you, man, look, you are so right about Mr. Herb Simmons. Anybody that's somebody in today's world of wrestling that are now legends has at one point in time gone and worked for Mr. Herb Simmons. I mean, he is absolutely, as far as I'm concerned, the best promoter out there. That's not part of the two big promotions, which would be WWE and AEW. So you are, I think, fortunate to be working for him. And let's start there since you brought it up. I'm going to go back into your history growing up, but
Sure.
this is a good place to start. You've been working
Yeah.
for her for 13 years, which is crazy. I didn't realize that. I was actually, frankly, when I did the research on you and found out that you've been in this business 20 plus years, that actually even shocked me. You don't look old enough to have been in the business that
Oh,
long, which is a compliment.
thank you. Thank you very
Um,
much.
but how did you come about meeting Mr. Herb and then working for him?
Well, I met Herb Simmons around 2009. I was actually sitting in the audience at one of his shows with another friend, and a wrestler that was actually one of my coaches when I was coming up in the business was also working for Herb Simmons at the time. This gentleman right here, actually, Killer Keith Smith. I don't know if you see his
Mhm.
poster behind me here, but he came out of the locker room. He tapped me on the shoulder and he asked me, do you have your gear with you? And we all know if you're in the business, the one thing you always have with you whenever you go to a professional wrestling show is you have to have your gear. Keith Smith taught me that a long time ago, and of course I had my gear. And he goes, oh, we have a wrestler no show us, we could use you. So I grabbed, told my friend, hey, I'll see you later. I went to my car, grabbed my bag, went to the locker room, and the rest was history. I had a one-off match with a gentleman who I remember his face, but I don't remember his name. It was a really good match. I was the Canadian villain back then, and oh, did I have a way of motivating the fans to hate me without doing much. And I got over really big that night. And Herb, I asked him, hey, if you enjoyed my work, I would love to work for you more. And they kind of just took off from there. It was really a good time. And again, 13 plus years I've been working for Herb, and I regret nothing. It's been nothing but I have many stories I'll share with you during the process of this
Yeah,
podcast, opportunities that Herb had provided for me that I know for a fact I wouldn't have gotten anywhere else.
right. And to tell my audience about how I met Sean, I think it's kind of a funny story. So I was in St. Louis for FanFest 4, hanging out with people I made friends with, and Sean was having a good time. You know, he had had a little bit to drink, and Sean was kind of running his mouth a little bit, and I think in his head it was all in good fun. Me being who I am, very protective over my wife and friends. Sean said something to me, and I'm like, you know, I didn't say anything to Sean because I was there. Mr. Hurt knows me. I didn't want to make a bad impression on him, so I'm like, I'm going to get this fucker now. Sean I don't know about currently, and we'll get to it. But a month and a half ago, he was a baby face. He was just turning a baby face. If
Just
I
turning, yeah.
so me being the loud asshole that I am during this match, I started getting the crowd to chant, "You can't wrestle," and it was, and let me tell you something, guys. Sean is very talented in the ring. He can absolutely wrestle. He just ruffled my feathers. But what's funny is I didn't realize that Sean and you and I were friends on Facebook, on social media already. I'm like, well, shit, I'm already friends with this guy. We started talking, figured out he was a good guy. He was just kind of having fun. But I remember one thing that I said that I truly think that, and I'm no wrestling expert, but as a fan of wrestling, you should take my advice. I still think you make a better heel than a baby face because, as your best friend has even told you, you just gotta have that face that people want to punch. I mean, you really
Absolutely. And you said that. You said at the bar after the show, the post show gathering. This gentleman right here actually is what I'm talking about. I don't know if you can see his poster way up there, but Big Bad Ben, that was the first promoter who ever gave me a chance in this business. And he, as I was coming up in Gateway Championship Wrestling, he said in front of a whole group of guys in the locker room, he said, Vincent, here's why you're such a good heel. Because if I ever saw you, if I didn't know you and I saw you in a bar, I'd want to punch you in the face. And you said, those are exact words. You said that at that bar. It gave me chills. It gave me goosebumps. I was like, holy shit, is Ben talking to you from heaven? 'Cause that's
right,
crazy. And
right,
yeah, and some of my best work in this business, or the 27 years I've been doing this, everybody would say like I make the greatest protagonist, or wait, antagonist,
yep,
antagonist.
antagonist,
Yeah, and I'm telling you right now, antagonists have way more fun. We just do because you don't
yeah,
care. But the funny thing is, that night was my first match back after a year hiatus with the torn ACL, and they were turning me babyface. So, and there was this big buildup of like me versus Glenn Williams, student
right.
versus teacher, and it's going to come to a head at FanFest 3. And the loudest dude in the audience, there was a point in the match where I said to Glenn, I'm about to turn heel, dude. Because he's got the audience chanting, John Vincent can't wrestle. And I'm literally, you got me like in stitches in the ring. I'm trying to, like, you try not to corpse
Right.
is a word we use in the business,
Yeah.
but you almost had me corpsing in the middle of my damn comeback match. And again, I love you, dude, and your aura and your enthusiasm in the audience. You're right. You got a voice that you could literally turn a crowd if you had to, and you did that
Yeah.
night. And it was again all in good fun. I never
Yep.
took anything personally,
Yep.
and I'm glad you
Well,
had fun.
but I tell you what, Sean, once I got to know you, and I'm like, damn it, this guy actually is not a douchebag. He's actually a really nice guy. Then I felt like shit. Now I did not know that that was your big comeback that night. So now I feel even more like a bigger piece of shit for doing that.
Dude, it was the most
Yeah.
comical thing for me, honestly, because I was like, I even got to the back after that match, and I was like, that was a fairly decent match for a guy who's been out of the ring for a whole year recovering from ACL surgery. And I looked at Herb and I said, "You still want to do this?
Yeah.
You still want me to be a face?"
Well, you know what? A testament to you though. I would have never known that you had been out for that long because
Oh, thank you.
there was no signs of ring rust, nothing. I mean, the match was, and it was a very good match. Yeah, I added my own personal entertainment to it, but even if I would have done that, it was a good match. So bravo to you for getting in and as much as I love SICW, Mr. Herb, I am just now starting to follow what's going on storyline wise because of watching
Sure.
YouTube now. But then yeah, I had no idea about that. How did you injure yourself? Was it in a in ring?
It was actually. So I was blessed. Again, this is another one of those opportunities of working with Herb that I probably wouldn't have had with someone else. I came to Herb one day and said I would love to start a professional wrestling school. And the idea I had was I would like to start it with Cowboy Bob Orton. Cowboy Bob Orton Jr., the father of Randy Orton.
Yep.
And I had his phone number already. I just needed a building and a ring. Well, Herb had a building, he had a ring, and I formed the Ace Wrestling Academy with Bob Orton. well, 6 years or rather 5 years into doing the school, I'm teaching the students one night. Lilith Khan actually, this is the person I was doing it with. Are you familiar with what up and over is? You're with the opponent in the
Yep,
corner.
yep,
They
yep.
jump up, go over. Yeah.
Oh, dude, yeah, yeah. I
So I'm leaping over Lilith Khan, and after the third one, we do five in a row. I land with my right knee locked
oh,
instead of bent, and it hyperflexed. I felt it pop. I immediately rolled out of the ring, and I tore my left ACL before, so I knew I tore something. So I just sat there on the side of the ring. I was like, I'm gonna be out of wrestling for at least a year. I'm gonna be out of work for at least 4 months. And I had to call the wife. I'm like, hey, I think I might just tore my knee. And of course, she was not a happy wife. I'm blessed though too, because I have the most understanding wife who's been with me since I started professional wrestling, and she's amazing. I'll talk more about her later, but
yeah.
that's how I tore my knee. I tore my knee teaching the students at Ace Academy how to do up and over.
Wow. So let me ask
Yeah.
you this real quick. I want to talk about another professional wrestler who's in WWE because of what happened to you. Because the whole lot of information has not been yet released about Seth Rollins and his knee
Oh
injury.
yeah.
Do you,
Yeah, I saw that.
and real quick, and I don't want to talk. I know this is about you, but
Sure, sure, sure.
um, because of what happened to you, do you think that that's kind of may have what happened to him? Because what you described about going the up and over, with except he was doing a flip and landed on his
Mhm.
feet. That almost kind of seems like that's a good possibility about what happened to him. Would you agree with that?
100%. As a registered nurse, I can tell you the way he landed after he did the tope over to the top rope, and the way he landed, that's where the real injury happened. They did it in slow mo. You see his right knee kilter inwards, and just the torque from that alone. And then when he did the backflip and he landed with his knee bent, but the damage was already done. And you got to
Right,
think the impact on that already damaged knee, he just made it worse. So I was praying it was a work. I was praying it wasn't real, and he
right,
didn't actually tear his knee. But after watching the slow mo replay and a zoom in of his right knee after he
yep,
rolled in and the way it torqued, and it's the same knee that he blew when he did the sunset flip power bomb at that house show when he first injured that knee. So that knee's already weak.
right.
So is it definitive? Did they ever say it was actually torn?
They Nothing has come out yet. I've been waiting for it
Really?
so I can break the news. Now let me ask you this, and the only reason I'm asking, and I appreciate you mentioning your shoot job because I was going to ask permission if we could talk about that.
Oh, totally.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay, so I know you're not a doctor, but you do work in the medical field. You are a nurse. You're more than a nurse. You just got a promotion, by the way. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you
But
very much.
what is the quickest someone best case scenario could come back from an injury like that? Do you think?
There's not a quick way. It all depends on the injury too. If he tore his meniscus, and depending on how he tore his meniscus, like I tore my meniscus in my right knee and my ACL completely off the bone. If you tear your meniscus on the outside, they can easily shave that and make it less likely to tear more. If you tear it down the middle, the meniscus is the pad between the two bones.
Right.
You're looking at being off of your leg, no weight bearing status for at least a few months. Like you can't walk on it at all.
Yeah.
For me, since I didn't tear it down the middle, I just had to have the ACL repair and then the meniscus kind of shaved. I was no weight bearing on that leg for a whole month on crutches. So I could not be released to wrestle with my injury for a whole year. If they had to push it, I've heard NFL players could come back within 6 to 7 months if they push it.
Right.
And honestly, that's NFL. In professional wrestling, we're doing way more damage to our joints than the average NFL player, hockey player, soccer player. By far more damage. So I would say he's looking at least, if it's that serious, 8 months. Oh, no, no. I would say at least 10 months minimum,
Yeah.
at
And I'm
least.
glad you said something because this is something I've argued with people for so many years that if you are talking about destruction on an athlete's body,
Yep.
professional wrestling is the sport that has the most destructive um, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Potential, I guess, for an athlete getting injured. It's professional wrestling, 100%.
100%. Every time we get slammed on the mat, it's the equivalent of a small car crash, like being rear-ended by a car.
Right.
So and then you watch an average wrestling match and you see them, getting slammed on the mat. That's like 50 car wrecks in one 15-minute match.
Right.
So I mean, yeah, we know what we're doing to an extent to protect ourselves, but you ever hear the phrase a bump card?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that bump card starts to get less and less the older you get. I'm 43
Right.
years old. I mean, if you look at my matches from back in early 2000s when I was in my 20s, I was doing some crazy shit.
Right. Right.
Now I'm 43 and I'm like, yeah, I'll save that for the younger guys.
Yep.
I'm not
Well,
doing that shit.
so this was crazy to me. You know, I once heard, I can't remember what professional wrestler said this. A guy at WWE, he was doing an interview and he made the comment that, to be a professional wrestler, something is a little screwy in your brain, right?
Oh yeah.
And for someone like you, I would have to say that there's a lot more screwy in your brain than the average professional wrestler. And the reason why I say this is because you are in the medical field, right? So there is no doubt in your head, like what this career, being a professional wrestler will eventually do to you. It doesn't matter how safe you try to be. It doesn't matter if you've never injured in the ring. Eventually, that bump part will be no more. And I've often been told that it's very hard for professional wrestlers to retire when they should because it's an addictive career that they have, which means now you're taking bumps well beyond that, as you said, that bump card.
Oh yeah.
What what is it that keeps you going in this business, especially with the fact that again you're in the medical field, so you are aware eventually how your body's going to be.
What keeps me, I'll say, I won't speak for everybody else, but for me is the connection to the audience. It's the emotionality that we um elect from the audience with what we do in the ring, the stories we tell. It's live theater, and when we go out there, that's why you buy a ticket to a professional wrestling show. You want to be entertained, you want to be interacted with, and when you tell a good story in the ring, and that referee counts three, and that bell rings, and you hear the boos or the cheers, and you did your job. It's organic. It is so hard to walk away from. I'll tell you this: this Saturday night in DeSoto, Missouri, I'm taking my son to an indie show where I'm sitting in the audience in the front row. I'm such a fan. I still go to other local indie wrestling shows, and I do that because I love hearing that audience and watching their reaction to what's going on in the ring from their perspective. And I'm telling you, that's why it's hard to walk away from.
Right.
Right
Right.
there, it's making people feel is what's addictive.
Right. Now I want to talk about your shoot job for a second.
Sure, go for it.
Uh, you're one of the fortunate people within professional wrestling because a lot of professional wrestlers, especially in the indie scene, they're kind of starving to death, right? They don't have a whole lot of money, at least from the experience I had from talking to so many people. You are fortunate that you have the position that you do, but you also save lives on top
Yeah,
of that, right?
yes sir, yes sir,
Um, the job that you have is a very high pressure job.
yes.
Professional wrestling could be said that that's also kind of a high pressure thing because you don't want to fuck up in front of the audience, right? You want to have as close of a perfect match as you can for yourself, I'm sure, but as well as for those audience members that are paying their ticket prices. 2 point question. One, talk about your shoot job. And then secondly, what do you do to release that stress and pressure you're constantly under from both of your jobs?
Oh man, those are some great questions, brother. So first, let's talk about, like, you had mentioned, like, how, like, I'm fortunate that financially I'm stable being a registered nurse, and this is a tip I tell all my students at the East Wrestling Academy. I tell them, listen, is damn hard to make it in this business. When I say make it, I mean like get a
Right.
signed contract where you're putting food on the table, you're paying your bills, and you're putting money into your savings account. You're actually making an investment. 9 times out of 10 on the indie scene, the only way you're ever actually making money is if you're selling merchandise and the merchandise is actually doing well. You know, you're popular. If you're a heel, you're selling anti merchandise, you're doing well. It is possible to make money on the indie scene, but it's really hard. So make sure you have a backup plan, a backup career. And when I was 30 years old, my wife and I were living out a 2 bedroom condo. She had just finished school as a certified physical therapy assistant. And I said to her, okay, now it's my time to go back to college because I'm 30 years old. We live in this 2 bedroom condo. We need to take the next step. So I told Herb, hey, I'm going to take the next 2 years off. I'm going to go back to college. And I've always been in the medical field. I was a certified nurse's assistant. So the next step was registered nurse. So I did a little angle where I injured my knee and I was out for like 2 years. And I went back to school, got my registered nurse license, and then I came back to professional wrestling, more financially secure and better off. And it's great because as a registered nurse, I work 3 days a week and every third weekend. So I work 3 12-hour shifts. I have more weekends off to enjoy professional wrestling, and I can provide for my family. Uh, the stress of both, yes, I do save lives. I'm a critical cardiac nurse. I deal with a lot of dysrhythmias, heart transplants. I would say on average, I'm keeping someone alive, and that means code blue, their heart stopped doing CPR at least once or twice a month. You hope it doesn't happen, but it does happen. And I'm grateful to say that I work with a great team of nurses and doctors where we've successfully revived many people. And then you got professional wrestling, the stress of entertaining the crowd. And really, I don't feel that stress. Been doing this for 27 years. Yes, I got the butterflies, the show butterflies, the bubble guts, before you go out to the ring, do your job. But I'm confident enough to where I can perform and not worry about them thinking I'm messing up because they won't know it. I will. I'm more concerned about did I entertain them? Or did they buy the story? And did I send them home happy? I decompress with my family. I always spend a lot of time with family. I have 4 kids I've adopted. I got a wife of 20. I gotta do the math in my
So
head.
wait. So let me stop. You said you've adopted 4 kids, right?
Yeah,
As this process of me getting to know you goes on, I'm feeling
yeah,
more and more and more like that piece of shit for having the audience turn on you.
yeah, dude. No, I'm a foster parent. I've been a
Awesome.
foster parent. Yeah, I've been a foster parent for going on 5 years now. I love it. I love me and my wife. We're devoted Christians, and we wanted to open up our home. We bought a big ranch in Hillsborough, Missouri, and my grandma was a foster parent. Growing up, I was around foster kids, and it just felt like the right thing to do. And unfortunately, there's a lot of foster kids in the system, and they need good homes. And my wife and I opened up our home to foster kids, and we've adopted. Oh, I'm sorry, we adopted 2, and we're in the process of a guardianship with another 2. My apologies. But and I'm not done yet. I mean, if I joke with my wife, I said I'd build more rooms, and don't say I won't because I will.
Right. Talk about something being ironic. You're the guy that, as me and your late best friend have both told you, you're
Yeah,
the guy that when we look at you, you have a face that we just want to fucking punch.
hell yeah.
But in reality, you really are a good guy. I mean, you're a guy that's adopted, you adopted 2 more. You work in the field that you work in, saving lives, according to you, at least, you know, twice a month. You're dealing with something like this. Um, like I said, man, I feel like I'm the freaking heel for having the audience. But
Nah, dude, you're an awesome fan.
I want to go way, way, way back to you being a little
Okay.
kid. Tell me about your childhood, and were you a wrestling fan as a child?
Absolutely, dude. Okay, so my earliest memories of professional wrestling, I was 6 or 7 years old. My grandpa used to watch wrestling at the Chase on the TV, and I was taken back by it. I was like, man, this is really cool. So we'd watch it together, and then there's a photo floating around my family where I'm holding a Jimmy Snuka figurine and a Hulk Hogan figurine, one of those old plastic ones. They don't have
Right.
any movable parts. and have a birthday cake in front of me. And then I watched through the late 80s into the 90s, early WWF, when Vince McMahon Jr. just took over. And my whole childhood growing up, it was just watching professional wrestling. And I'm going to tell a quick story
Sure.
about Attila Khan that I hope he sees this and he just smiles because I love telling it. I saw my first indie wrestling show when I was 14 years old. It was in Jennings, Missouri, at the Ambassador at Northland Shopping Center. And I don't remember the name of the company at the time, but I remember the people who were on the card. One was Coco Beware,
Hmm.
wrestling a guy underneath a mask who was Attila Khan. And then Attila Khan wrestled on the show, but back then he was known as the drill instructor.
Hmm.
And I was just taken back. This is my first live wrestling show. It wasn't WWF, but it was
Right.
wrestling, and I was in awe. Fast forward 2 years, and my girlfriend, found a poster for a professional wrestling school called Midwest Renegade Wrestling.
Hmm.
And it was off of St. Charles Rock Road in a dusty old garage. I went there. My mom drove me there, and every Tuesday and Thursday night, she would drive me there and pick me up. It was like she was dropping me off to a YMCA camp. That's how she kind of treated it.
Now, you were 16 years old, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
16.
So, real quick, did you have problems starting in the school at the age of 16 years old?
No, my mom signed a waiver real quick because she needed a reason to get me out of the house on Tuesday and Thursday night.
Right.
Dude, yeah, no, I was 16. I weighed 98 pounds. Ben Albert, honestly, God bless him, rest his soul. He gave a 16-year-old a chance that any other wrestling school would have just beat the shit out of
Right.
me and sent me packing. And MRW would eventually become Gateway Championship Wrestling, that spanned from 2000 to 2007. And what a great time! I sent you a lot of photos I used for the advertising for this show,
Yep.
where I was the evil referee. That was my first gimmick, and then I became. Go ahead.
And I was saying, at first, I had to look twice to see if it was you because you were a stick back then. I mean,
I
you
was a
were
stick.
really, really skinny, and you're not a fat guy now. But obviously, you could tell you've been into the gym now. I mean, back
Yeah.
then, I'm like, holy shit, this guy was extremely skinny.
Oh my god, dude, it was hilarious because I would tell the announcer, "Hey, I'm like 185 pounds," and he goes, "Ha, yeah, 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 you are." So then yeah, dude, what a fantastic journey, man. I've been in pro wrestling since I was 16. That means I celebrated my 21st birthday. I celebrated getting married, college, like literally my whole damn life. All the milestones up to now has been in professional wrestling, and it's just been an awesome, awesome, awesome journey.
Yeah. So, was there at any point as a 16-year-old kid, you were now being taught how to take bumps, how to do, be a very safe professional wrestler so you don't hurt yourself or anyone else?
Yeah.
Um, but and I try to explain this to people all the time, although I have never been a professional wrestler, I know that taking bumps hurts, especially in the beginning. I have friends that are professional wrestlers. I've heard nightmare stories from them. Was there any, and these guys were adults whenever they went to training. You were a kid, your brain's not matured yet. Was there any part of you that was like, man, I don't want to do this no more because this shit is painful?
No, not even. There was definitely times where I was tested, my merit was tested, and I'll tell you about one time. My coach Ty Dalton, he's no longer in the business. He has been in the business a long time. He actually had a tryout with the WWF back in the day. He was really actually a very talented worker. Um, I wanted to learn how to chop. I brought it up. I said, "Hey, can you show me how to chop?" He goes, "Hey, no problem. Come on over here." Told me the basics of how to do the hand and where to hit the chest. And he kind of leaned in the corner and goes, "Okay, go ahead." Boom, I hit him once. He goes, "Oh, it wasn't bad, but try over here." Boom, I hit him again. He goes, "Keep going." Boom, I'm on like the fifth chop when he all of a sudden he tells me, "Oh, by the way, whichever how many chops you do, that's twice you're getting back." I'm like, I'm on like number 10. Boy, he flipped my ass around. I had no chest. I was a Ken doll. He lit my ass up, and he wasn't light at all. He made everyone count. By the time he was done, I was hamburger meat. And later on that night, my mom's like, "You still want to do this?" I'm like, "Yes, I do." I went back the next Thursday, dude. And again, it's something that I would yeah, I never had a moment in my mind where I was like, "Why am I doing this?"
How old were you when you had your first match?
mm. I was, all right, let me think about that. So I was 18 years old. It was, I believe, DeSoto, Missouri. It was a 2-day event, or no, it was a 1-day event, yeah, a day show and a night show. And I believe actually the poster's right behind. Where the heck is that poster? Oh, I don't have it hanging up anymore. It fell down. Shit. Anyway, it was a day and a night show. I was sitting on the bleachers after setting up the ring and the show, and Ben Oliver approaches me. He goes, "Hey, do you have your training gear with you?" And I was like, "Yes, I do. I got it right here." I was happy as shit. It was 2000, the year 2000, DeSoto, Missouri, and I got to wrestle a guy named Nicky Strychnine, my first match. And I wanted to pull back the Iron Curtain for a second and tell you guys something hilarious. I was in the locker room. I'm excited. I'm getting on my blue jean shorts and jersey. I look like one of the who are the guys? Public Enemy. I look like a fucking Public Enemy, like a discount Public Enemy. So anyway, I find Nikki, and I'm so excited. I say to him, "Who's going over?" And he fucking looked at me sideways. He's like, "What did you ask me?" He gets up, "Hey guys," he yells to the whole locker room, "Vincent wants to know who's going over." And they all fucking laugh their asses off. Because I'm the greenhorn. Like, why? Who the fuck am I to ask that question? Needless to say, he didn't he took care of me in the match. It was a great match, good first outing. Didn't have another match for another 7 months after that. And it wasn't because of what I said in the locker room, but it was just comical that we think about like some of the things we would say when we were young and green in this business. And then we look back and we just roll our eyes like, fuck, did I really say that? I'm a bitch.
Now, what name did you use when you first got into the business?
Sean Vincent.
Always
Sean
been
Vincent
Sean
the whole way.
Vincent. So,
Yeah.
I was
Go
gonna
ahead.
say, how'd you come up with the name Sean Vincent, and who is Sean Vincent compared to what your shoot name is?
Sean Vincent. All right. So a lot of people are like, "Oh, is that your real name?" Well, in professional wrestling, just like the Undertaker, it's not the Undertaker's name. Mark Howley is the real name. Of course, my shoot name is different from my actual ring name, and you do that for two reasons. One, you're protecting your identity.
Right.
Like, believe it or not, there are freaking psycho fans in this business that they knew your real name. They will look you up, they will find you, and they will fuck with your life. So having a stage name that's marketable is important for not just marketing and merchandise, but also protection. You know,
Right.
it's really important. So when it came time for me to actually have a name, Sean Vincent wasn't my original name. Actually, I wasn't even going to be a person who wrestles. My first original idea was a masked wrestler by the name of Super Electro from Mexico. It was the shittiest gimmick. Oh my god, it was so bad. I got this costume made literally from Mexico with a mask. There's a full body suit. It had SE on the chest and lightning bolts over it, lightning bolts over the mask, SE on the forehead in case you didn't know my name. And it was a drizzling shits. I couldn't get the character over. It was terrible. I ended up selling the whole costume to Bill McNeil, who made the character fantastic. You can go on YouTube and look up Super Electro Wrestler, and there's the costume that I
Right.
wore. You'll see it. It actually is gone all over the place in the United States.
Yeah.
Like, because he sold it to somebody else who even took it even further than he did. So, bravo.
Right.
So, Ben Oliver and one of my other trainers, Makazi, Ben knew a guy named Sean, and Makazi knew a guy named Vincent. That's it.
There it is.
Sean Vincent. Boom. That's
Right.
it. Yeah, you would think there'd be a little more substance to that story. No, that's it.
Well, but so tell me though, how much of Sean Vincent is I if you want to say your shoot name, that's fine. I never say it first in these interviews. So who, how much of who you are is Sean Vincent?
All me, 100% me. Like they say, the best of you is just you with the volume turned up. I've always been charismatic. I get a lot of my personality from my mother. She is very loud, blunt, sometimes blunt to a fault. And a lot of my personality also, you got to remember, I started this when I was 16, man.
Right.
I was around some serious characters. You go back and look up, there's a web page on YouTube, GCW Tribute.
Hmm.
And if you go on there, you'll see a lot of these guys right here in this poster behind me. Actually, was the original GCW roster. You have I know you know who Delirious is, right?
Yeah. Oh
From
yeah. Yep.
ROH.
Yep.
There's Delirious. You know who Matt Seidel is, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Matt. That's him right there. Matt Seidel. You got Dingo over here
Yep.
to the left. Dingo was a big star on IWA Mid South, Ian Rodden. And just, I mean, these are the guys I grew up around. Like, we all started at Gateway Championship Wrestling. You got Mikey Gordon right there from California. So, anyway, I'm around all this immense talent that went on to bigger and greater things. And when you're around those personalities, it rubs off on you. So,
Right.
I am absolutely not the definition of an introvert. I'm an extrovert by all
Right.
means.
Right.
So, is Sean Vincent like me? Absolutely 100%.
Now, what did your mom think about you wanting to get into the business? And how old were you when you decided I want to be a pro wrestler?
16. I was 16. I showed her the poster. I said, hey, there's this wrestling school really close. I sold her on that. I said, it's really close, not that far of a drive. And, I wasn't really doing anything else. I didn't play baseball. I didn't wrestle. I didn't play football. I was a kid that rode his bike a lot around the neighborhood, had a lot of friends, and that's it. I didn't really play a lot of sports. So I think she got excited by the idea of me doing anything athletic. Um, so she adamantly took me every Tuesday and Thursday till I got my own car and took myself, and it was great. She liked it. She liked that
Right.
I had a hobby that I loved.
Got it. Tell me about the championship belts that you have won over your career. And is there one that means more to you than others?
Yeah, 100%. It was the first time I won the light heavyweight GCW light heavyweight championship. It was something that I'll never forget because the night that it happened, I was told the night of. Like, it wasn't like wrote into a story. It was in oh God, where were we? Knights of Columbus Hall, somewhere in Missouri. I was wrestling the champion at the time, Outcast, and the booker walked up to me and said, "Hey, you're going over for the belt tonight." And I was blown away. I'm like, "Me, the heel referee? Seriously?" And when it happened, the audience didn't see it coming. It was very organic. I was already overly established heel. And when I walked, there wasn't the audience's reaction. It was the locker room's reaction.
Mhm.
Because the first person I saw when I came back to the locker room was Delirious. And Delirious was like, they just put you over the title? And it was the disbelief, but also the overjoy of like, you deserve this, that came from the locker room. And those are the moments, again, I'm 43 years old. I was, I think, 20 or 19 when that happened. And it will forever, I'll be 80 years old in a rocking chair going, I remember that day. That because it was the first title ever. It was the boys, the camaraderie from the boys in the locker room, where they're like, man, for a little guy, you got a big heart and you know how to work the audience. So, and I think I won that title two more times after that before the company closed, and it was great. It was really really great. Yeah, and then I would think the next runner up would be the uh shoot. Oh my God, why am I blanking on this? The not the heavyweight champion of SICW, but the Midwest the secondary title for Herb Simmons. I'm sorry, Herb. God, you're gonna watch this. You're gonna Central States title. It came to me. The Central States title. Crap. I was the Central States
Right.
champion for Herb Simmons, and that was a great time. That was a blasty blast. Until I lost in a cage match where I almost bled to death against Bobby D. There you go.
So let me ask you this. I've heard wrestlers say that the title is just basically a prop to them, but there are also wrestlers like Bret Hart, superstar Billy Graham, just to name two of them, that took these belts very seriously, and when they had to give up the titles, it was a blow to them because they felt, according to them, they felt like that was the company saying, you know what, we think this person could put more asses in seats than you can. What did the title mean to you? Was it something that you took very seriously, or was it
Mm,
just basically, yeah, it's cool, but it's just another prop?
no, not even. When the company puts you in that position where you're a champion, that's them telling you that you are the guy that they believe puts asses in seats, that you're getting the attention of the audience. You are the guy that can bring some prestige to the belt. Like right now, Glenn Williams is the Central States champion for SICW. Let me tell you something right now. You can't throw a stone without hitting someone who doesn't know who Big Nasty Glenn Williams
Hmm.
is. He's got a larger in life personality. His presence on social media is huge. So he fits the bill as somebody that would hold that monarchy as a champion. And as far as like wrestlers getting pissy on when they have to drop the belt, that's when they have an opinion like, okay, I'm dropping into a guy who probably politicked his way into that position, but doesn't really deserve it. Like, is this guy actually putting the work in for the company? Are they putting asses in seats? Are they marketable? A lot of times it's not that, and that's why they get mad. It's not that they don't want to drop the belt. No,
Right,
not at all. Like, Bret Hart, for example, and Shawn Michaels' whole Montreal incident, he didn't want to drop the title in Canada. I'll do
right,
it on Monday Night. Brett said, I'll do it on Monday Night Raw. I'll do it any other time. Just don't do it then.
right,
And to a big fuck you to Brett, the Montreal screw job happened. And so again, it's sometimes when they don't want to drop the belt, it's not because they don't want to, they're being a ego prick. It's because of the circumstances of how they're doing it.
right. In the beginning, we were talking about your childhood. You mentioned two wrestlers, Jimmy Superfly Snuka and Hulk Hogan. Surprisingly enough, you didn't mention Bret Hart or any of the Hart family members because you are from Canada.
Yes.
Were they an influence on you at all?
Not as much as the Dynamite Kid. I was a big Dynamite Kid fan. Him and Davey Boy Smith were two that I followed when they were tagging up. Um, I would say I watched a little bit of Bret Hart more when I started watching WWE. My fondest memories of WWF was Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels when it was WrestleMania. Help me out. Iron Man match
Yeah,
10.
yeah, 10 or 11.
10 or 11. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I watched that title match on my TV in my bedroom. I didn't pay for pay-per-view. It was watching it through the screwy lines. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm like, I can make it out, kinda. And I watched that Iron Man match. I remember when they went into sudden death overtime because, time ran out. And I was just so excited when Shawn Michaels went over. I was a big Shawn Michaels fan growing up. But yeah, when it comes to following the heritage of Bret Hart, I really didn't do that until I got older. About the Hart's Dungeon and Stu Hart and all that, Calgary, Alberta. Like, yeah, no, I would say Dynamite Kid was definitely someone though I did study a lot of when I was coming up in the business.
Right. Is there a particular person that you love being in the ring with, that every time you're in the ring you have the best match of your career?
100%. Bill McNeil. Me and Billy Neal go way, way back to the days of Gateway Championship Wrestling. Again, his smug self argument. Oh, well, he's kind of hiding back here, but
Right.
he's in that poster too. We get in there. It's I can trust him. He can trust me, and not that I can't trust other people. It's just that you have people that you have history with, and I know that when I'm going to be in a match with Billy, it's one going to be very entertaining for the fans. We're gonna have a great time, but it's also like you're relaxed. You know that I'm going to take care of him. He's going to take care of me, and it's going to be a good time all around. So And there's other people like Curtis Wild. We go way back. Again, wrestling him is like breathing air, easy. The fans love it every time, even more so when I'm the heel and he's the face. It's magical. It really is. And the list can go on and on and on. But I would say off the top of my head, if you had to ask me two people right off the top of my head, Bill McNeil and Curtis Wild, for sure.
You is there anybody that is part of your bucket list that you want to step in the ring with before you retire?
Oh yeah, of course. There's always quite a few. Now see, at this age, and I say that with tongue in cheek because there are guys older than me still doing this, and they look fantastic. Gary Jackson being one of them. I'm 43 years old. Gary Jackson's 50-ish something, and he's still going at it like he's not going to retire anytime soon. So, but at this age, it's all about giving back. And there's a young man who started with Ace Academy who didn't graduate but could have. He wanted to kind of get out there too soon and start wrestling before he should have. And he's actually doing, to his credit, quite well. A kid by the name of Anakin Murphy. Anakin Murphy, you can see him wrestle on the indie scene for a company called Anarchy Championship Wrestling, and then a few others. But he is a young man who, believe it or not, he probably doesn't even know this, but I do see him pop up on my social feeds, and I see some of his matches, and I'm proud of him, and I think we could do some really good matches together if the opportunity ever presented itself. So, Anakin Murphy, if you're out there and you're watching this podcast, I'm calling you out, boy. Make that match happen, Herb. Yeah, Herb. SICW, Anakin Murphy, bring him in.
So, if these contracts were offered to you, which one would you go to? WWE, AEW, TNA, or New Japan Pro Wrestling? And why?
If it was a part-time contract, most definitely. Full-time, absolutely not. Because here's all right. Not to sound cocky, but I make more money as a registered nurse than a newly signed contract with any of those companies.
Right.
So like, if they were going to offer me a contract, it would have to be more than what I'm making as a registered nurse, and that's not going to happen. But let's say fantasy talk. Let's say fantasy talk.
Right.
If I wasn't married, if I didn't have 4 kids and they offered me a contract, it would be the big show. It'd be WWE. Of course, it'd be WWE. Let's be real here. Let's be real honest with each other. If you're a professional wrestler, your goal should always be the WWE. And there's not to say TNA, AEW, NWA. It's not to say those other companies aren't great in their own right. But if you're not trying to make it to WrestleMania, if that's not on your to-do list, then your priorities are totally fucked up. Like they just are. And that's my opinion. It might differ from anybody else's. Hell, you might. What's the WrestleMania of AEW? What is it? Double
All
or
in
Nothing?
Texas. It was all in.
All in. Okay, all in is their WrestleMania. If all in is your WrestleMania and that's your goal, by God, more power to you. But honestly, I think there's not one wrestler out there in the world today with the right circumstances and the right contract, they would not pass on working for Vince McMahon or Paul Levesque, whoever does the paychecks these days. I still think it's Vince. I really do.
Who do you think, in your opinion, is the best wrestler in the world right now?
Well, that depends. Like, well, what's your opinion? Like, what's
It,
considered a
it
best wrestler?
that's that's subjective. It's who you think.
Very subjective. Very subjective. Yeah, I know, right? Because here's the thing, dude. Like, I don't watch a whole lot of today's product. I'm an old school guy, right? Like, I'll put on Memphis Wrestling, or I'll put on like I'm watching a lot of '90s ECW. And why don't we change it up a little bit? Who would I say is the greatest wrestler that I could bring back from the past?
Sure.
And all right, cool. I would say hands down, Dean Malenko. Dean Malenko was like the man I studied Because if you wanted to know how to chain wrestle, like how to grapple, how to be creative, Dean Malenko was a guy you had to study. Larry Madison said this one time. If you don't know who Larry Madison is, he was the voice of Wrestling at the
Right.
Chase.
Yep.
What is on every poster? What is on every billboard? Wrestling. So if you don't know how to grapple or how to actually wrestle as a professional wrestler, you're doing a half-assed job. You're not a complete wrestler. Anybody could do a, well, I should say anybody because my punk ass can't. But anybody can do a backflip, a big spot, lucha spot, no sell, no
Right.
sell. I do not like, by the way, and anybody can tell you that knows me, I hate super kicks now with a passion.
They're overused. Yeah.
Oh my god, it gives me a headache every time I watch the Young Bucks. I just
Yeah.
want to punch the TV. And they're talented kids. They're talented guys.
Right.
I can't really call them kids anymore. They're talented guys, but Jesus, sell a fucking super kick, please.
Right.
And that's a whole nother ball of wax.
No, I
But
agree.
yeah, Dean Malenko.
The super kick, it doesn't mean what it used to mean when Gentleman Chris Adams was doing it. That was a
Mhm,
big deal then.
mhm.
That was his finisher move. Now everybody's doing it. It's not even a finisher. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. Um, Last question, because fortunately we're running out of time. I have another podcast after this. I wish I didn't, because I could spend another hour talking to you.
Thank you.
Final question though. Um, what do you want your legacy to be once you are retired from the business?
I want to leave the business better than when I came in. I want my legacy to be that I am helping the future talent of tomorrow get over with the business. I want to see local indie wrestling. There's so much youthful talent right now, fresh talent coming out. Like this Saturday night, I'm excited. I'm going to be in Seoul, Missouri for American Championship Wrestling. I got my son. We're going to go together, father and son. We're going to sit in the front row, and I want him, me. I mean, obviously, I'm a huge critic sitting in the seat.
Right.
I got maintain professionalism, but him, he's organic. His reaction is so pure that I want to see what they're going to do to entertain him and all the young talent that's going to be on that card, the new talent that I never met before. I want to see them entertain him. Again, it's really hard. Like, imagine if you're a director and you make movies
Hmm.
and you go and you watch someone else's movie, you're
Hmm.
gonna like know shit and it's gonna kind of ruin
Right.
it for you. But my son, he doesn't know,
Right.
and it's all really, really special to him. And then to see that, or that's what I want. I want the new talent of tomorrow to thrive. If I can some way help them be better and get over more with the audience of tomorrow, that I want that to be my legacy. I want to make the business better by helping the talent of today, and that is why Ace Academy exists.
Awesome. Anything you'd like to plug?
Yeah, absolutely. You can catch me on all sorts of social media. Right now, I have 5.1 thousand followers on Facebook. I've been doing a new kind of series on Facebook where people tell me they love it when I go live with my family. And I've been starting to call it the day in the life of a professional wrestling nurse. And basically, I just go on there, and it's kind of like what the Miz did with his wife and family. Like
Hmm.
he did it's like a reality thing where it's a little more lighthearted and you get to see the other side, the non-perspective asshole side that you thought that no, this guy's actually a really good dude, and I kind of enjoy that the fact that I had fans approach me and tell me that. So Facebook, you can reach me on Facebook. I'm on X. I'm on TikTok, although I don't use that very much. It's mostly for my own enjoyment. But
Right.
yeah, search me out. And by the way, I'm going to plug this. If you want to see the history of Sean Vincent, go to YouTube and look up Gateway Championship Wrestling Tribute, GCW Tribute, excuse me, on YouTube. There's over 500 matches on there of not just me, but also all the guys behind me, going back to Delirious' beginning days, Matt Seidel's beginning days when he was just known as Matt, not Matt Seidel,
Right.
and even myself, Sean Vincent.
Yep. Are you going to be in Vegas for the reunion?
I was going to be in Vegas, and here's why I'm not going to be in
Ah,
Vegas. I have a ranch, and I have a well on my ranch, and all the money that I was going to use to go to Vegas, $6,000 went to a well pump that went out. So next year, 2027, I will be there in Vegas. I keep telling Herb because he keeps asking me when you gonna go to the Cauliflower Alley Club, and it will happen in 2027.
So the question
26.
is
2026.
what baby face am I going to be able to get the crowd to turn on by chanting? I tell you
Man,
what, Sean,
do
go ahead.
yeah, what's up? I'll
No,
just
go
say
ahead.
do Edge. Do Edge. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. I tell you what, man. I'm glad that you've come on. I'm glad that I
Thank you.
got to know you. Guys, if you see Sean out, yes, he has the face. You may want to punch him, but I promise you, he is a good guy. I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation with you. Again, I could definitely go another hour with you if I didn't have another podcast.
Hey, another time, another place. Have me on again sometime.
Absolutely, you will be back. Absolutely. Good luck with the adoption in your
Thank you.
wrestling career. Again, congratulations for your promotion and your shoot career. And again, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Guys, we will be on at about 7:15, about 15 minutes. We'll be doing a recap of Wednesday Night Dynamite. Maybe myself, Mark, and Kurt for sure. Hopefully, maybe I could convince Bob Cook to be on. We'll see. But please hit subscribe. I have great guests lined up to come on the podcast. You can find me on Facebook, KG Landry. I have a list of everyone that's going to be on in the near future. Sean, again, thank you so much. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. You
And
guys
thank you,
have
sir.
you guys have a great night.